Hello, everybody. Meaghan Jansen here, Employee Wellness Solutions Network. I'm excited to kick off this month's message all about the truth about leadership burnout. And I want to focus on that and a few ideas for some focus on leadership resiliency. It's kind of on the heels of last month's message about how organizational resiliency is absolutely a hot topic this year. And I thought, well, why not talk a little bit more about us as leaders, specifically in our workplaces that we carry a lot, we do a lot, we lead a lot of projects and teams and people. And sometimes we forget about really ourselves. And a lot of the time, we're seeing this kind of shift in specifically, interestingly, senior leaders. And the pace is unbelievably fast. It's uncertain. Throw in artificial intelligence for a more effective workforce, a more productive workforce. There's a lot of decisions being made. And sometimes we have to kind of roll with it and kind of roll with the flow of work. And that's sometimes hard, which can then lead to obvious challenges with burnout. You know, we talk a lot in wellness programming, health promotion at work, and all these different pieces that are important. But it's sometimes hard when we aren't maybe feeling our best, when we know we don't have all the answers. And that does become a challenge for some. So I want to spend today talking a little bit about that. Burnout's real. And something that we're seeing in an article that I'm going to share with you, a couple of them from Benefits Canada this month. But one is really about kind of the focus of loneliness and how that is becoming more and more apparent, specifically in executive positions. Because of the world and things changing so quickly every day, there's something new to digest and new to try to maneuver. And it's a real thing. So we're going to get into it. One of the things that I like to kind of start with is just from a wellness standpoint. And I don't know if, this first of five tips is really something that I try to do myself, is prioritizing your own energy. And it's a tough thing when we're giving, 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 and doing, and doing, doing. And sometimes we forget about truly what we need as individuals. And so this is just a nod to suggest just protect yourself, protect your energy. The more we can take care of ourselves, the better we're able to take care and react and respond to work challenges as well as people. So that's one thing. Things like prioritizing sleep. Gosh, it's tough. Sometimes when our minds are racing, it's really tough to think about that as important. But it is our sleep, our movement. How much are we sitting in front of a screen? What are we consuming for food? All of these pieces, hydration, you name it. I mean, it really does contribute to optimizing our energy levels. And I've spoken about this several times before. Other things we can also do is really protect our boundaries. Taking breaks, getting away from our desks for lunch, having a bit of time outside. These are modeling behaviors for our teams and our employees. And if we can practice this, it's normalizing well-being in the workplace. And that's so important. I mean, we're looked upon as leaders of our organization. And if we can take care of ourselves, it's helpful for others seeing what we're doing. The second one is staying connected on purpose. Now, there's an article that came out just this month. I'm going to load it for you, discussing how important social events are for workplace relationships. It was a poll done, and almost half of Canadian employees value the social connections. It really improves workplace relationships. I mean, that can transcend into team collaboration and all sorts of wonderful offshoots. So stay connected on purpose. And oftentimes when we're kind of faced with challenge, which leads me to my third one is reframing challenges, is looking into, asking ourselves, what is the opportunity? Um, I doing several different talks for different groups, and something that does pop up is a lot of challenges we're faced with right now. And part of the world of, personal resiliency is being uncomfortable in that space of learning. It's a learning space. But recognizing maybe where the opportunities might actually rest. I like the quote, stitch a new garment, like you looking at a challenge as the opportunity to stitch something new, to do something new. And this is becoming certainly more apparent as we start to kind of uncover the reasons why our leaders are burnt out. It seems like we just might not know all the answers. And I think authenticity and being an authentic leader and recognizing that you might not have all the answers and that's okay is something that I find to be really true to effective leadership and granted transformational leadership. I mean, we're leading a team, we're leading groups, we're leading projects, and the best thing we can do is the best we can do for ourselves, and that's to be respected. The fourth one is lean on your people. So it's definitely a kind of nods to this piece of social connection and the importance for relationships. And this is again another angle of leaders who take on a lot, protecting your energy, being able to focus more on what we can control, I think is the big thing, and where we put our energy. So leaning on our relationships and our people is a really great piece. Lastly is not easy, but it's a piece on pausing before reacting. Now, it's tough, especially when we're inundated with what's happening and how we can make our teams more effective and how we can make our projects and our services more productive and AI and all of the other pieces that come into it. It's lonely when you're kind of trying to make decisions for the team. And one thing I do suggest is pausing before we react or pausing before we respond and truly asking ourselves what is in our control. So those are some five kind of, I like this model because it allows us to really understand maybe more so introspectively what we, can control and what we might not be able to control because we don't have all the information. Oftentimes people are talking now about learning how to kind of learning to flow and work, because we don't have all the answers. So a simple model is pause, reframe, recharge, connect, and refocus. I hope that was helpful. I wanted to, again, share some information about this today because we're heading into a new season. We're heading into the fall. Oftentimes people feel like they're more focused, say, at work because, kids are back to school and the summers are over. And now it's time to refocus and reset. So hopefully you found those 5 tips helpful. It's really all about focusing in on protecting yourself before we can protect and help and support others. Have a wonderful month. We'll see you next time.